Welcome to Schofield's Flowers Podcast, episode 18. Enjoy the show. Hey everyone, it's Steve Schofield here from Schofield's Flowers. As you know, they call me Scof.
And I'm Chris Fratty. People call me Fratty.
How you doing, buddy? I just got back from Chicago.
I'm good, Scof. I've been following along on the socials. Definitely jealous. As I said, I think before in another episode, would love to get out to some of those tiki bars in there. I'm not sure if you got to any of them, but it looked like you were busy.
Yeah. No, I didn't get to the tiki, but I have to tell you, it was fantastic being in Chicago for the launch of the Chicago 7 and doing the art installation for them, for Netflix and Circus advertising. I mean, I'm just so proud of the team and everything we did. And but I mean, Chicago was open.
Yeah.
The restaurants were open. Everybody was very COVID safe. Everybody had their mask on. We walked into the place and the Ubers, everything. You had to be totally prepared to wear that mask. And then you go in, and then when they sit you, and after the server comes, they say, once you start getting served drinks and that, then you can take it off and you give your menu. So they were really fantastic. I went to watch a Bears game in a bar called The Collar. It was fantastic. And yeah, so it was just felt great to be in the city.
And there's a big game this Monday night, I guess tonight. Bears-Rams, Monday Night Football.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, shit. Now I don't know who to vote for. No, my kids will kill me if they say it's got to be the Bears. You know?
Yeah. You got to always go with your first love, and then secondarily your adopted team, kind of a thing.
Yeah. I've always been. Although the only one team I love the Blackhawks, but I've always been I was a Boston Bruin fan as a kid because Bobby Orr was my idol.
Oh wow!
And then I've been out here 30 years, so the LA Kings have been my team out here.
Yeah.
2 Stanley Cup playoffs and tons of 5 years of games and tickets and everything else. So it's just nice feeling.
Yeah, and that's my dad. I mean, he's from the Bronx, so he's a Yankees fan from childhood. But I mean, he's been out in California for, I don't know, 40, 50 years himself. So it's like he's more a Angels fan, than I'd probably say a Yankees fan. But I think it's like he reverts back to Yankees fan. Like you always still have that passion for them, even though you're not following along as much because you can't see all the games, but you get the local games, so that team a little bit more. But he's always still a Yankees fan.
Well, I think we went through a good ride with the Blackhawks and the Kings. They won they were in the playoffs 3, 4, 5 years in a row.
That was like
the Kings
five cups in 6 years between the two teams.
Yeah. And then then the Cubs won a couple years ago. Now we got our Dodgers going here.
Ugh.
So, I know. I forgot. So they lost last night, but hopefully they'll get going. We got Thursday night football. It's crazy.
Yeah, but speaking of Chicago, we got the number one partier from Chicago, the one and only Scotty Brown.
Downtown Scotty Brown's going to be in the house.
That was a great interview and a good time. Great stories. I mean, once you told me we had him on, I just was like Googling, learning his history and all that. And obviously he'll talk about it on here, but I mean, that is a crazy life he was once part of, but it's even better to hear, kind of that redemption of, his sobriety and what he's doing now.
Yeah. He's doing good things for good people, and that's the key. But, and I won't even go there because I want everybody to actually.
As I'm drinking a beer.
Yes. And I would like to thank Cheetos today because I've been eating them on the show and I love them. And then also, as I'm doing the show, I'm eating Reese's. So
we're gonna have to
reach out to them because this is what I call God's food.
That's why you I think you were telling me before you could never get up on a surfboard because you had a belly. Well, I think that's those are surfboard killers.
And maybe these briefs here by Elegant Moments, that you'll be wearing when we go. So we got to hit them up. But
oh my gosh.
But let's all right, people. You're going to hear Scotty Brown. Enjoy it. It's a fantastic stories. You'll all have a kick, and I'm sure you'll be laughing if you're sitting in the car driving. Hey everyone, it's Steve Schofield here from Schofield's Flowers. As you know, they call me Scof.
And I'm Chris Frederigo. People call me Fratty.
And Fratty, I couldn't be more excited to have a good friend back in the day from Chicago. We hadn't seen each other in a long time. Bumped into each other at a Triumph motorcycle get together at the Ace Hotel. Today we got Downtown Scotty Brown in the house.
In the house. Good to be here with you guys.
Yeah, yeah. That's probably our best intro for anybody, right?
It really is. It really is.
We got to go. Thanks, man.
It's been fun. It's the summer of Costanza. We're out.
So Fratty, I got to tell you, I was at this get together at the Ace Hotel, and I saw this guy, and I hadn't seen him a long time, and we get talking, and I was like, yeah, Downtown Scotty Brown. I'm like, I'm Steve Schofield. Back and forth, and next thing you know, it's like, oh my God, I haven't seen you, and I haven't seen you in. I am at the Tempo restaurant.
Oh, my hangout.
Well,
I ran my business out of there. They had some nice payphones in the back there.
Yeah.
I would just sit in the back table by the payphones and wait for them to ring.
Yeah. So you can only imagine it was always snowing outside in Chicago, especially in the Tempo. You know what I mean?
Sounds like it was snowing inside too.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
I had some crazy times there.
So yeah, so of course it's 4:00 in the morning. You still want to stay out and go to some after party. And of course, we're in our 20s and 30s, and things are ripping large, and we're going to Crowbar, and then Outtakes. Remember Outtakes? And
oh yeah, my buddy owned
all
it.
these different great pubs and clubs, and just the best time to grow up. It really in during that time, and so. I mean, I'll let you. I mean, I know you were. We're all about mobsters on this show. We always like to talk about true crime, and you were living it, buddy. So I mean, I'd love to have you go over like your past and everything, and just give
Well,
like it's a great story, and it's had a scripts and movies, and talk about them and made about them, and so yeah, go ahead, Scotty.
well, it's a lot to talk about, but I guess.
Just whisper. I'll listen to you.
I guess it was pretty, my parents were getting a divorce and I wanted out of reality, and I discovered marijuana, and thought I was about 13, 14, and thought, wow, nobody else can get this. If I get it, I'll be able to sell it to my friends. I bought my first bag and split it up and sold it. And I was at Addison Trail High School, and started a lot of guys on the stuff there, and ended up quitting school to sell the drugs. I was making a lot of money, but I started, Bussy Woods was a place where it was like a drug supermarket. So I just set up a stand. I had a sign and everything. I'd open up whatever I had that day. I'd make it up, Panama Red, whatever it was. And one day a guy came up to me. He's like, kid, you need more? And I go, of course. He goes, okay, follow me. And I go to his house, and it's a safe house for, a guy named like Pablo Escobar.
Jeez.
Really, it was Carlos later, Carlos was a great guy, but he was Pablo's best friend. And they had about, a ton of weed in there. I walked in. The first thing I saw was a Cheap Trick poster, which was cool because I guess that was about 77 or something. They had just come out, and I was more of a punk rock guy, getting into the Pistols and Cheap Trick and stuff. And I was
you were hanging at the exit with Kenny and
Exit actually wasn't even open yet.
Wow.
I was going to O'Banion's, speaking of
great
O'Banion's
bar,
was the joint.
Great bar.
It was the first. What's that?
It was a great bar, O'Banion's.
It was the best.
It was the best.
That's why I moved to Chicago. I could never drive home from that bar, so I had to get an apartment. But that was the craziest place I'd ever been in my life.
Yeah.
And, so I went into that house, and they had a bowl of Colombian gold, and it was kind of rare to even see that back then. Just sitting there, and I went in the basement, and they had 50 bales of Colombian.
There you go.
So that was a nice introduction there. That helped.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And how long did that last?
Well, I did it for 10 years, from 74 to 84.
and then you wound up buying that condo downtown, and then
That
you
I
wound up,
bought, yeah, when I in 1979, I was 19.
And it came
And
with a nickname.
yeah, I got my nickname there. I bought the condo, 21 East Chestnut, right on the same street as Temple. Temple, where Temple was, is actually all strip clubs right there. So Temple was a strip club at one time, and I remember when they built it, and I just moved in, and you could sit up on the stage there. You know, there was a little stage, and we'd sit up there, and I'd see Tony Spilatro and his buddies come in, and they would sit there late night in the corner, and I'd have my corner. And Stelios was the chef. His dad owned it, and he had to work nights. He was always like, "Man, you bring in the hotties, dude." He was like, I felt bad. He was kind of envious.
I mean, there was some. What was the bar? I lived at 10 East Ontario place.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
Kenny lived there.
Kenny
I remember when they built it.
Yeah, so Kenny, I go downstairs and have a chat with him and say, put my name at the door, and I see him all the time. The guy was Mr. Brickenstein.
Yeah.
You know, him and Cap. So I became really good friends with them. They were great guys because we had the best pool on the 14th floor.
Oh yeah, you did.
It was insane, Fratty, this place. I'm overlooking the entire city, balcony. I mean, it was just fantastic. I had the best time there. We had a one bedroom, but it wasn't. It was like a smaller one. What do you call them? A
studio.
Studio. Thank you. So yeah, but it had these blinds that you could pull and close it and everything. And then we had a couch bed, and it was great. And I used to love that place. So I can remember we had with Schofield. It was Schofield Trembeth, and our tagline was, "Who are these guys?" Because Rich Trembeth was like literally 6'4" and I'm 5'7". He's got this long hair. He always wear these long coats, and I wear something black. We're always in black. And his daughter drew our cards, and it was to like Cape Michigan Avenue, and people loved our T-shirts. I mean, loved them, right? So we had a huge party. We were doing really well. Just finished off shooting tons of big campaigns, and I expected I don't know, maybe 80 to 100, like 600 people showed up. And I mean, the next morning I was ordering my partner's walking around, Rich is walking around with a headband, like a samurai sword headband, like with a ninja robe and his bathing suit. And he's just having a good old time. He always drinks his martinis and smoke a cigarette like this. And I'm running around ordering fucking pizzas and getting anything I can get.
Where was
Give me
I?
more liquor. Get me this.
I was at the X.
Yeah.
I wasn't cool enough to go to those pool parties yet.
I only knew you at 4 a.m.
We had a nice pool at 21 East Chestnut, though. I had the key to get in all night long.
Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet. So,
nice.
I mean, you were in the mob back then, or you were working on your own, but you had the mob.
Yeah. We didn't think of it. We just thought it as good businessmen, but I grew up with those guys, some of them, and they fell into it. And luckily I was such a good salesman and kind of really into that whole, I would study it, read High Times magazine, and travel to Jamaica and whatever, Every vacation I took, it was for that reason. Miami was crazy and dangerous back then, but it was the Wild West. It was just so wild back then. You could literally see people chasing people up and down the street in Coconut Grove, with deals gone bad. But I would go down there just to try to do things, but it was like stupid because I could never get a better deal than the one I had in Chicago, because those guys, I don't know how they did it, but they brought a ton every month. And my buddy lived in the house, and he just called me, it's coming in, and boom. I'd show up and go through all the bales and take the best ones. But like I said, I used to just like to go down to Florida because it was so crazy and exciting to me,
Yeah.
I wanted to be a pirate. Travel the islands down there, but it really wasn't worth the hassle to do it.
Did you ever by any chance meet, I'm working on a project right now with Georgette Angelos, and it's she owns the rights to George Jung. You remember?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he was portrayed by Johnny Depp in the movie Blow.
Yeah.
So she just shot a 5 series docuseries on and he's in his 70s. I think he's like 72 or 3. And it's pretty good. I mean, he meets up with the tuna, who is his running mate, and 45 years later, and it's crazy. So yeah, so they're in the midst. We've been trying to bring it over to several different places right now, like Lionsgate, a number of different places. So I was just wondering if you ever met him, because that's
No, I didn't, and I didn't like to meet a lot of people, to be honest with you, because you want to keep it a secret, right?
Yeah.
But I was very fortunate to be able to. I had my one guy who was hooked up with the blacks, right?
Right.
I'd meet him on Austin Avenue over there, and his name was Rich. Anyway, I shouldn't even say name, but he worked at the post office, but he at one time, but then he became very big because of me, and but he would take care of the Gangster Disciples and all those guys, right? And then I had the Hells Angels biker guys for a while till they got mad at me. And
they didn't
luckily
they didn't tie you to 2 legs to a motorcycles and split you apart?
No, thank God. I was too young, I think. My girlfriend in high school was dating one of them, so I started supplying them, and they got mad at the weed was kind of moist, and they said I owed them money. I said, fuck, that's how I got it, right? Yeah. So anyway, so, you know, I had all these different connections, which was good for me. So.
Well, those were the times. The 80s were rock and roll.
They were fun. There wasn't a lot of competition, you know, like now everybody's doing that shit, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't even know where to get anything, and I don't want to ever see it again, you know? I mean, I like smoking I smoke some weed. I like that, but I've even slowed
weed
down.
was my thing. I got into the white stuff for a little bit. Was always so many problems involved with it, with that people and the way they became.
Yep.
You know, it was just, as I said, I don't want to do it, because I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I would do it once in a while and be like, oh, you know, you'd be doing like, I hate this. You know, it didn't vibe good with me, but I couldn't stop doing it once I started.
Yeah.
All my guys were getting into it, and it was a lot easier to transport, obviously. A lot smaller, but I just never felt good about it. And I was mainly a weed guy, you know?
Yeah. So what was your transition for leaving Chicago and then busting out to coming to Los Angeles?
Well, I came to LA in probably 1981 to look around, and it just wasn't happening to me. The whiskey was going on in the Rainbow, and that was like it.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I went up to San Francisco, which was much more of a city vibe, like Chicago, right?
Right.
With better clubs, really, the I-Beam and stuff. And so I decided to move to San Francisco and and the drug scene was bigger there too. Haight-Ashbury was still going, but more punk rock. And then I started going up to Humboldt County and Mendocino County and getting my own personal weed up there and going to the farms. You know, I'm the city boy in the Mercedes convertible driving up to the farms, you know, and it was a lot of fun. And then they were selling this Coke there that me and my buddy, you know, we promised each other we wouldn't do it. And then I ended up doing it, and then I'd overdo it. And I pray to God, bring me down, never let me do it again. I'll never do it again. And then that happened 3 times in 1 month. I go, I know I said that last week, but praise God, let me live. And it was, I'm like, this is some weird Coke. And it was crank or meth, you know?
Oh.
And they were selling it as Coke. So with me,
Wow.
when I did that, I really hit a bottom fast. I call it the expressway to the program. So I'm on my knees praying to God, had this weird out of body, like, I'm powerless. I know I said I wouldn't do it last week, and here I am doing this shit again, praying to God to bring me down. I'm having like a toxic shock. And I almost died and just had a moment of clarity. Like, I don't want to die feeling so spiritually bankrupt. And what I've been promoting now for 10 years is killing me. So I felt a lot of guilt and shame, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you know what? I get it too, right? I mean, bottom. I have a friend that I ride motorcycles with. You've met John over at Long Gray here. He taught me how to ride my motorcycle, and he literally with the fridge, and he literally was he was married and had kids, and then he got hooked on crack, and oh my God, and it was at a party. He thought he was smoking some weed, and it turned out to be crack, and he got addicted, and the next thing you know, he's like kids. It's just a terrible story. I could go on for days, but they came out of it, and he's fine, and he's been sober now for 20 years. And
Wow.
I mean, how many?
Yeah,
He's very lucky. He said his worst moment was literally when he was living with his crack whore girlfriend downtown, and didn't even know where his wife was, and living in a box in downtown. And it was raining. He had a dog, and she sort of had the dog, and the box got collapsed, and it was raining on him. And he said he smacked her. He said, "What are you doing, you stupid, whatever." And then next thing you know, she's left him. And he says, how much lower could I get? I was living in a box.
I don't know, you're kind of making me horny talking about that story. We like that insanity.
Yeah. So we'll get you a box, and we'll get you a dog.
The crazy crack whores, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, right.
And a crazy crack whore, you got to have that. The film make you run all over town looking for that.
That's great. So he just, changed, right? And then he couldn't get in. You know what he said is the Salvation Army saved his life.
Yeah, I got a lot of friends. Some of them have to go to that level. Me, I had a ton of cash, and it was weird, right? I didn't get busted, none of that. I had loads and loads of money, and but I knew the money and all that wasn't making me happy. And I prayed to God. I'm like, I'll work at frickin' McDonald's if you give me serenity right now, because it's not easy to get out of the mob. Because I know I didn't like guys leaving. And when when something happened to them or they wanted to leave, we'd be around at a fancy restaurant. Like, be nice if he wasn't around. Cheers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With the Dom, and I knew they were talking like about me like that because I wanted out,
Right.
And it was really, really scary, and it's a crazy story, but I thought I had to save the world because now I'm being redeemed. I have all the answers, and I basically had a nervous breakdown and told my parents the devil's that my parents worked for me too, and they did.
Wow.
My mom stored it at her house, and my dad laundered the money and through his business, and then so they were freaking out.
Sure.
Scotty, what point did you get into music? I know you had a club.
Music, I got in my whole life.
Okay.
I always loved it. So that was my thing. What my front was kind of being a music video producer. And when video came out, I was way into it in like 78. And I would videotape all the local punk bands, the Effigies and Naked Raygun and stuff like that, and Ministry. And then, so I was really into music. And when I had these parties, one of the things, we lived by a farm in Addison. And I would throw these big bashes with bands and have like a reefer raffle, right? I remember like my third party, the helicopters were coming. There were so many people showing up. They hear about some kid throwing a party, having reefer raffles going on. Because when you paid to get in, you got a little ticket. But I would have these local bands, and I would sneak in the clubs. Beginnings was a club in Schaumburg, and it was awesome. Yeah. I remember being at a head shop in Addison called Bogart's, and the guy would play music and sell records there too. And I hear his song. I'm like, man, that's a good, cool tune. Who is that? He goes, oh, it's the Police. The record just came out today, right? I'm hearing Roxanne. And I'm like, oh, that's great. And I'm driving home, and I hear on the radio, the Police for $1 at Beginnings Monday nights was $1 to get in. I drove straight to Beginnings because I was 19. The age was 19
back then. Yep.
And I went in for $1 Monday, saw the Police, and then Beginnings became my hangout because they had.
Oh, that was great. My wife and I my wife's from Hanover Park.
Great, yeah.
And all her buddies, she went to Schaumburg High.
Really?
Or she went to Schaumburg. She go to Schaumburg or Conant. She went to Conant, but it was a mixture of Schaumburg, Conant kids, and all her Dougie Olson, who I played hockey with the Minor Hawks in Chicago and Lake Forest College. I mean, Dougie and Mark Piccini, who later became the president of Foot Conant Building in downtown Chicago. They introduced me and my wife, and we would definitely go to Beginnings all the time. Great bands. We would Fratty, we would see Styx there. I mean, Hoops, all the Chicago bands.
Oh my God, Iggy Pop, B-52s, the Pretenders, the Special.
That's awesome.
Yeah, sort of like what you're doing. I mean,
Yeah.
did you tell them that you work for Live Nation and like they get what about that one room gets how many people in there?
Yeah, we were talking a lot about it a little bit. I work at the Observatory, which is like a small club in Orange County. It used to be the Galaxy way back in, and then it was the Observatory, and then Live Nation took it over more recently. But it's got two rooms. The main room's like 1,000 people, and then we got a
Nice.
small room that holds up to like 300 people. But
Hmm.
we get a lot of like undercards that will come through and they want an intimate setting, so they'll play the 300 person room, but it'll be like a side project of a big band. We had Mark Hoppus's side band from Blink 182, Simple Creatures, come through last fall, and he's playing to 1,000 people. Here he is, probably one of the biggest punk stars of this era.
Hmm.
you know
Well, you're lucky
uh,
you got Live Nation helping you.
yeah, exactly.
That's probably what got, it was tough.
Yeah.
I own the Avalon nightclub, and it was the same thing, 3 rooms.
Did you own the Avalon?
Huh? I own the Avalon on Belmont, yeah.
Oh my God, the Avalon was one of the best nightclubs to go see music at, Fratty.
Yeah.
How many people did that hold?
Well, the main room held about 500. Then I made a dance room that
Hmm.
held about 100 or so, and then a cabaret room in the back, which was more intimate, and that's where the Smashing Pumpkins.
I saw the Smashing
Yeah.
Pumpkins there. Yeah,
Yeah, I used to have them on
Yeah.
every Halloween. I'd have them play.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
It's funny. They started in the back room with a drum machine, and then Billy Corgan met Darcy at my club during a concert, the Dan Reed Network. He was from Canada. They met there, and then I booked all his first shows, and so that
Yeah.
was a cool thing. We had to bring the bands up because I had to compete with Jam, which in Live Nation,
Yeah.
which wasn't then going on much then, but it was hard to get the really good acts like you're talking about, Chris.
Yeah, it's
Even
really
though,
cool though. Even still, like our venue is really known for being like up and coming artists. Like, I mean, a lot of it now is hip hop based. So,
I think
but
they're national acts though, right?
they will do. We have both. We'll have national tours, but then we'll have just our own talent booker that books tours too. So they may come to us, but they won't go to the other Live Nation venues exclusively. But we'll like I was looking back, like even just 4 years ago, people that are headlining Coachella were opening or headlining at our venue, and then they just quickly blew
Yeah.
up and everything. So
I
it's
would
really
I got
exciting.
shown a couple of pilots at my
Yeah.
club. And then
Wow.
I managed Scott Weiland for a while.
But yeah, it's cool to see. Like that's what I always tell people when I'm talking to them about coming out. It's like you may not know who the people are, but come out, check it out, and if you like the music, we have a ton. Like we're known for like underground hip hop and like old school punk bands. So like
Wow.
Bad Religion will play 2 nights there. Lagwagon had 2 nights there. Before all the COVID stuff, I mean, our fall lineup was going to be like NoFX doing their Punk and Drublick. It was going to be AFI. It was going to be um, Me
That's
First and the Gimme Gimme. So just like all these old school punk bands, and then it was going to be mixed in with like underground hip hop guys. We call them SoundCloud rappers, but like in 2-3 years, they're going to be all over the radio,
Yeah,
and it's
that's what I
really
used to say about the Pumpkins. I had a feeling they were going to be big.
and it's just really cool because you get to see, like I grew up listening to punk rock, and I used to go to a venue, and it's still around, but I'd go to Chain Reaction in Anaheim, and it was like 100 person room. And so I would go and see these bands, and then eventually they would tour with bigger acts and bigger acts and bigger acts, and now some of those bands are headlining at our venue. Here we are, 10-20 years later, so I get to go see them. But for those that grew up on it, they were probably kids, and they're paying pocket change to try to get in, and now we have them at our venue, and they're adults, and they're like, perfect, I can come and see some bands and enjoy it.
Yeah, I'd like to see the room. It sounds similar to my
yeah,
situation.
yeah. It's beautiful. Freddie, you can even pull it up, can't you?
There was a
Yeah, I
Fantastic.
can show.
there
It's
was a
awesome.
small club in San Diego everybody used to play. And the stage was only like a foot high. And I drove from LA to San Diego with Steve Jones from the Sex Pistols. And they did a show there with John Taylor from Duran Duran was playing bass. Matt Sorum from Guns N' Roses was on drums. And Duff McKagan was on bass from Guns N' Roses. And Billy Idol sang. And it was like the best show I'd ever seen because literally a stage is like a foot and a half high, and you're right next. I remember pushing Billy Idol back on the stage, you know, when it was like you were at the 100 Club in London back in the day. It was so freaking fun.
You know, Billy Idol does, right? So his kid played baseball in the Sherman Oaks Little League. So
Nice.
Billy sang the national anthem for the opening of the Little League tournaments, and he's in all black with the bleach blonde hair and a scarf around him. All the moms came all sexed up.
I love Billy Idol, man. I ride motorcycles with him. We were in Hellfire Canyon Club.
Doesn't Steve ride motorcycle, Jones?
We all had this Hellfire Canyon Club then.
Yeah. So I've ridden with Steve. He's a really good guy. I like him a lot. And then, you know, it's so Stewart. I was sitting at the I was sitting at the Soho House, and right at the corner there in West Hollywood, and all of a sudden, you know, they have this movie nights they have there, and all of a sudden, Rod Stewart walks up, and he looks at me, and goes, "Hi, mate, how you doing?" I go, "I'm good." I said, "Matter of fact, you're the only guy I know that has more kids than me." He laughs. He goes, "How many you got?" I go, "I got 4.
Yeah,
There it is. I go, "What is it?" He goes, "It's a boy, another soccer player," because he loves soccer, right? He's a huge soccer fan. He plays
I used to go to his house. He's got a soccer field at his house.
Oh, wow.
Beverly Park. I worked with his family for a long time. He was the only freaking guy that wouldn't pay me forever. It's like, dude, come on, you rich? You can't pay me? I got to pay my rent over here.
Yeah. And was that through Sobe?
No, that was before Soba. That was about 25 years ago. I worked with Ashley Hamilton a lot, and he was wanting to be a singer too, and he was a fan of Scott Weiland, so they did this band together, and then I was working with him, and I partnered up with Arnold Stiefel, who managed Rod Stewart, and I managed Scott with Arnold Stiefel. So I was hooked into the whole Rod Stewart thing. And, you know, I love Rod. He's great.
I didn't even know. You know what? It's so good to talk because, I mean, Fratty's way into music and working with the Live Nation and everything. And, you know, I didn't even know your music history that much. I mean, I knew the past, and I knew that you had moved out here and you started Soba, and then you also got into real estate also with Lux, right? And you've owned a lot of property and a lot of houses in the Malibu area, correct?
Yeah, still do. And trying to sell the Soba property right now for $8 million. But it's right across from Nobu and Soho House in Malibu. It's the best location in the world.
Man, what a place! What a place to get sober. You can get, you know, hang out and then go get some nice sushi and see the beach.
Yeah, go to Soho House and
yeah.
That's crazy. So and then like, I mean, you're blessed in a way. You know, you've had a crazy life. You made it through. You said you were scared. You know, have people maybe chasing you. You're thinking you're gonna die because you're taking the wrong drug and everything. And you know, you've had this crazy life in music and seen a lot of things. But helping people recover has got to be a wonderful feeling, right?
It is, and you know, you got to give it away to keep it, we say. So I want to keep it. It's by the grace of God that I got this thing. So, right. And I have this knowledge now of how to get it. Unfortunately, I tried it with Scott Weiland, Chris Cornell, and they couldn't get it, you know, guys like that, where they're great, great guys, but it's hard to get, you know, I mean, and it's really hard on me when they don't get it. And I think I try everything with Scott. I lived with him practically for 3 years. And he just couldn't get it. And I think, how can you not get it? Can't you see the peace of mind and the conscious contact with God I have, how things happen really cool, and I'm able to really like them? And he'd be on stage telling me, I just want to get off stage and go to the hood and cop, you know? I'd be like,
Right.
man, I want to be on stage singing, you know?
Yeah.
And it was hard to watch.
Yeah, blowing a great deal like that. I mean, and that's terrible. That's a shame, because I mean, I think it does take that. You know, my wife is, I'm not a super religious person, but my wife's, I say we're Christians, and my wife likes to go to church more than I do, and we go to this great church, and you know, and the pastor, he's fantastic. And you know, I you know, sometimes you have these little like split that are Y in the lanes, right? You got to go left or right. And I'm a buddy of mine that I'm working with. Well, you might even know Jonathan Scott. You know Jonathan
Yeah,
Scott?
I do, in Vegas.
Yeah. So
Vegas.
I'm working with Jonathan on a really cool project right now. I should download you on that and everything. So he's running a studio there that he's taken over, and he started working with the D League, you know, with the minor leagues to the end. So he started broadcasting with these kids, and he brought them through the broadcast network there, and he's teaching kids in the D League how to be sports announcers.
Wow, that's awesome.
And it's
He
great.
was at my club many years ago, you know? When I first opened it, he did show out of there.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He's a great guy. And now he's booking all these comedy acts because he can do 100 people on screen and everything, which, Fratty, we got to go there and do our show from Vegas, you know, and that, because it's really nice. And so with him, because of the schooling thing he was doing with teaching these kids and broadcast and everything with the D League, Clark County got heard about it, and it's the fifth largest county in the U.S. They've got 19,000, 6,000 of those students don't have Wi-Fi, computers, or anything.
Damn.
So, yeah, crazy, right? So how are they learning? So he's, I jumped on board with him. I don't know if you know Yarrow from the Super Dudes back in the day, but Yarrow, he owns Hatch Experience. So I reached out to Hatch. He said, you know, I really don't know how to put this thing together. And I said, I think I can get somebody to help us out. And they work with foundations, and they do a lot about Save the World. It's really cool. And they have these incubators that they do and everything. So they've given their foundation money raising guy, and he's helping us write grants right now and everything. And then Jonathan brought up that he he read about T-Mobile and giving away. They have $1 million that they're donating to education throughout the United States. And I was like, he said, do you know anybody? And I said, yeah, I know I coached hockey with a guy by the name of Eric Berlin that played with Fratty, and I was their coach in Long Beach for hockey because my son Stefan played for many years. And so I wound up calling Eric, and he said, yeah, I can turn you on to the lady that runs everything. And so I just reached out to her last night. So we're hoping to put a call together and see how we can get T-Mobile involved. We have PBS.
Is that a basketball thing you said? Basketball D League?
Well, no, the D League is the minor leagues that's set in Vegas for the NBA. So
awesome.
For the kids for the kids that don't go to college can go to the minor leagues and play in the D League, right? And some might, you know, because you either go the college route or you can go to the D League route, because they realized there were a lot of kids that probably, you know, I mean, same with Stefan when he was playing. You have two different sections. You have Junior A, and it's like, and then you have Junior A that's you know, in the Western States Hockey League, and the and also the one in the Toronto area, which is called, what is it called, Fratty? I should know. Jesus.
The OHL?
The OHL. Thank you. I'm just having another senior moment. So kids would go there because they were pretty sure that they were going to go to the NHL, so they didn't feel like they needed college, but also they might not have been the best students, you know. So, so when Clark County heard about Jonathan, then they invited him to the table, and he brought some teachers on, and then that spiraled into parents how to teach kids outside of the school. So we're bringing on musicians now from Vegas, comedians, you name it. We're bringing on artists to talk to these kids, and just to work with the kids and talk to the parents.
I'd love to help you guys with that. You know, basketball was my thing. I got so hooked in playing basketball because I was raised, my dad was a coach, and my brother was third in the nation when he was 9. for McDonald's pass, dribble, and shoot contest, and my dad made us play like 4 hours a day. I swear to God. And so we both were really good, but I got into drugs and got out of it. When I got sober, one of the guys at Avalon had a thing going down the street, so I started playing, me and my brother, and I got addicted to it, and I actually sold the Avalon so I could play basketball all the time, and I ended up getting to play with Michael Jordan a lot when he retired the first year. He would call me, they would call me at home and tell me Michael's coming in, or he'd call and put a game together at this sporting club down there in Chicago,
Yeah, what was I shot Michael Jordan's first campaign, dude. For Nike. I'm gonna pull up a picture that's gonna blow you away. Wait till you see this picture. It's hilarious.
He used to come to the China Club a lot too back then when I ran it.
I used to go to the China Club. So
I ran the VIP lounge.
Look at that.
Nice.
They got the mullet.
Michael still had hair.
Yeah, right.
I think the hair is better than the photo.
Yeah.
I remember him coming to Limelight. Right when he got signed, right around that time.
For any Chicagoan in the world, Limelight was one of the coolest bars ever. It was in this old, church.
Historical center.
It was a okay. Right.
It was the Chicago Historical Center at one time.
Yeah. And then who was always at the door? Blonde-haired guy,
B.J. Murray.
Murray. How's he doing? I heard he got Lyme disease, but I heard he beat it and he's okay.
Yeah. He's doing good. He met a nice lady who's friends of mine, and they're doing good. They live in Barrington now. I think he's
in Illinois, in Barrington?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought he was in New York. I knew
he was, but we met her and moved in with her, and they're in Barrington or something. She did well financially, and Russell Bernelli, who was really the main doorman.
Yep.
He's in Ojai now, working for Steve Edelson. Who, if you go to Vegas. You got to look up Big Daddy Carlos and those guys. They own a nice nightclub there where bands play. But Steve Edelson was the guy I opened my first club with way back in the day. But he owns a lot of clubs in Hollywood. He owns restaurants. So Russell Bernelli's running his restaurant in Ojai called the Ranch House or something.
You're kidding me. I can't wait because my buddy owns, I was just on the line with him. My buddy from Hero Pictures is Hero LA. He's a television producer and movie producer, and he's going to Ojai. And my buddy is Brad Stewart. You know Brad Stewart, who owns Caravan Outpost in Ojai?
No. But you guys should interview Russell. Russell would be great, too. That's how I got my start singing, was at the Limelight. Jonathan Scott interviewed me once. At their anniversary, I told them that story, but that was crazy because Russell and BJ would do a thing, they call it Kool-Aid. That was when Farm Aid and all that Live Aid was going on.
Yeah.
Kool-Aid, and they invited the Chicago celebrities, and they picked me as one of them because I was like the biggest nightclub promoter. But I was singing with the Chicago Bears guys because they just won the Super Bowl and shit, and a couple other celebrities. But they're like, I'm like, I don't know, I never sang before. They're like, well, pick a song. Just do one song, we're going to have a top-notch band, Tower of Power guys and shit. And I'm like, I never gave them a song, so they picked Sex Machine for me. You're singing Sex Machine by James Brown. I'm like, oh, shit. I don't even hardly know that song. So I started studying it, and I'm like, man, I can't even sing. I went to one rehearsal, couldn't even speak into the mic. And then I wrote it all down on a marker. I'm like, I'm just going to bring the lyrics up. So I write them in a red marker. And I don't know if you remember at the Limelight, they had a double-ducker London bus out in the back, and I'm out back praying to God, please God help me. I hear him call my name. I told nobody about the show, and there was 1,000 people there. So I'm making my way through the crowd. I get up on stage, I open my piece of paper, and a red light is shining on it, and the words weren't there because I wrote it in red marker. I was like, oh shit, and the guys are like, 1, 2, 3, hit it. And I'm like, get up, get on the scene, like a Sex Machine, moving, grooving. So that was like, the words just seemed to come to me. It was crazy. And I got hooked on that high. And that's how I started the band.
That's crazy. Well, you're making money then. So, you could.
Not that much. I was sober. When I got sober, I made no money. You got to be a criminal to make money in this world.
That's so funny.
Look at Trump, that fucking criminal. I'm not against them, but come on. They got laws for criminals. They're good.
So where are you living now? I think you just
I just
moved.
got a house in Palm Desert, and I'm in Camarillo. I have a house in Camarillo, and I'm at my new house now in Palm Desert, which I love.
Nice.
You know, do you ever go to Idlewild on that road to 74?
You know what? I haven't. I need to get out
Dude,
that way. I know.
that's one of
I
the
know.
best roads ever.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're going to be coming out that way. I told you. So Saturday night, I wanted you to come over and grab a beer or grab a sarsaparilla with us.
Yeah, man. I'm used to that.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, we're going to, you know where that's at?
You broke up, but I'm assuming Harriet's, Poppy's and Harriet's or something.
Yeah, yeah, by Pappy and Harriet's. It's only 20 miles from, probably where, well, I don't know how far it would be, but
Yeah, I've been
it's not
wanting
that
to go there. I haven't been there yet, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah. So you should come out and join us for dinner. We're going to have there's going to be about 6 of us. We're leaving tomorrow morning for a motorcycle ride and, just getting up that way.
Are you riding the bikes up there?
Yeah, yeah. We're riding Triumphs up there, all Triumph.
Well, you got to go up to Idlewild and come down that road to 74. It's called Palms to Pines Highway.
Idlewild, all right.
Yeah, so when you're coming, you can get off the freeway, depending. You could either go through Hemet or get off that freeway and go through the mountains up to Idlewild, and then you come down. It's an amazing ride. And you ride right past my house.
What is it called? Palms to what?
Palms to Pines Highway. It's 74.
Okay. All right.
Because it starts in, Palm Desert and it goes up to Idlewild is like, it snows up there and stuff. It's all like foresty.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I heard it's beautiful. I can't believe it. Fratty, have you been to Idlewild?
I haven't. I've heard a lot about it too. Like I heard it's like Big Bear, but like Big Bear, but if you were to picture like, the quintessential, you want the Christmas experience going down Main Street, like this is where you go instead of Big Bear.
Yeah, it's very small. It's not as touristy. There's no big lake, but it's got the cute little center of town with the nice little delis or diners or whatever.
I'd love to get up there. We're talking about trying to get a cabin for Christmas, whether Big Bear or, elsewhere, but we want to get up to some snow and get out of the city a little bit.
Yeah, Wrightwood was cool too, but I think that's all burned up a little bit over there now.
Where's that?
Wrightwood off the Los Angeles Crest Highway.
Yeah, those fires were gnarly.
Yeah, that's another reason I like being up here now.
Wrightwood is burned up?
I know they evacuated it. I don't know if it got burned.
Wow. That's crazy.
I hope Newcomb's Ranch is okay.
I don't know, man. That area is, I hope, hopefully it will be. I mean, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Scotty, I'd love to hear how you got into real estate and then into the show $1 Million Listing.
Okay, so I was managing Scott Weiland, who had gotten busted several times. I got him out of it maybe 10 times, but I couldn't do it every time. So he got a 9-month prison sentence. And I'm like, shit, what am I going to do, right? So I was at an Academy Award party, and I saw my buddy, and I was like, hey, I'm looking for a new gig. I knew he was a location manager. Mitchell Binder, I don't know if you know him, Steve. He owns King Baby. He's a motorcycle guy, too.
What's the name? What's his name?
Mitchell Binder.
He
owns King Baby, is a jewelry shop, and he builds motorcycles too. They're really awesome. But so I go to Mitchell. I like, hey, he goes, yeah, can you start in a week and do locations? I go, all right, cool, So I thought I'll get out of the music business, which Weiland was wearing me out, and I was like, maybe this will be easier. I was like, holy shit, this is a lot harder. You're working 15-hour days here, and I'm location. I'm responsible for everything here. It's like I make a mistake, it costs the company $500,000. So, but I did that for like 5 years, and it was hard. I'm a Teamster. So my connections got me in there pretty quick to be a Teamster, and all my buddies run the Teamsters in Chicago that I grew up with, the Hogans and all that, you know. But so I did that, and then I learned LA really well, being a location manager. You know how it is. You learn every damn neighborhood and who lives in it, because I got a door knock to get permission. So my wife, 20 years ago, she's like, I'm going to get into real estate. And I thought, yeah, you know what? I am too. My family did it in Chicago and Vegas, and I've always thought about it, and I've been buying and selling real estate. So we took the test together, and we started right when the boom took off 20 years ago. And I had a bunch of big listings in Malibu, and they asked me if I wanted to be on this new TV show called Hot Listing, I think the name was then. I was like, oh shit, I don't know, maybe, you know, and I was kind of nervous, but they did it. And I didn't know it was going to be a big hit show. I'm on season 1, episode 1, you know, and I pulled my friends from the Starbucks, which was my office. I would joke, yeah, Starbucks over there on Trancas is my office. And I sold a bunch of homes. He had Busta Rhymes Hummer, and we put that on the show and drove up, and he bought Soba. So he was the first guy on the show, season 1, and we bought Soba. I got him into that business, the rehab business. And that's the other reason I wanted to get into real estate, was I wanted to do rehabs to help people, and they were just starting to do it in Malibu. Promises had just opened up, and I helped them put people in there from the entertainment.
That's fantastic, dude. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like anything. If you're a writer, you write about your life. So you knew what you went through. You knew how to get people sober. You knew that real estate could open up a market for you to help out there. And
then real estate took off so much, I'm like, fuck, I'm just going to stay in this. And then my buddy who bought Soba, you know, I was partners in that business, just a small partner, but I consulted them and helped them. And really what I liked was the clubhouse there, where people could go for fun and for free to meetings every day. So we had that for like 15 years there. And that was my putting back into the community and society. So I felt like I helped out. And he was a great person to run it, Greg Hanley. And
did I meet him on the beach? Did I meet him one time? We rode over there. He lives on the beach in Malibu.
Yeah, you went to his house.
Yeah. He's a good guy. I really liked him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Mitchell was with us, maybe. From King Baby, I think, no?
Yeah, he was.
Was he?
Yeah. I think he was. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. So
that's funny. I forgot about that. But yeah, he's a big Vegas guy. You know, he manages boxers. So you guys should hook up with him over there too. Now he's on his 100-foot yacht every day. He lives on the yacht.
You broke up. What did you just say though? You broke up.
I said he's in Vegas a lot. He manages boxers there. He's a big gym, but he also has a 100-foot yacht that he's living on nowadays in Marina Del Rey. You should go check out that.
Wow. Who's that now again?
Greg Hanley, who owns Soba. But he was into the boxing thing back in the day. That's how he got into. Literally, me and him were having yogurt in Malibu Yogurt, and I was sponsoring him. And he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm selling my gym and property in Vegas. It was called Prince Branch Boxing. It was a huge property in Vegas. He had tigers on it and everything, and all the guys would train there. David Tua and Hector Macho Camacho and all those guys. Greg managed them too. And he's like, I'm selling the ranch because I'm sober now and I don't want to be around that stuff so much, and I want to move to Malibu. And I'm like, and we're having yogurt, and this lady, she comes up and says, you're buying my property and going to kick me out. She had a little hair salon in the thing. I'm like, whoa, I was going to buy it and do a rehab, but my finances fell out, which was my father. So my dad had said, get one of your rich friends to do it. I don't want to be in LA, And so I'm like, a light bulb went off. Greg's like, what's that all about? Now, I was going to buy this property. Matter of fact, you're selling the ranch. Let me go show you this property. And boom, we bought it that day. We wrote it up.
You and I are the same cloth, man. We're connectors.
Right?
That's what we do.
That's what we do. He made $5 million. I made, a couple dollars. He's selling it for $8. I got it for like 2.8. Now he's selling it for $8.
Yeah.
renting an up office
I-
right now.
I had one time in my life I had $1 million in the bank, and I had right before I was buying my house. I actually had 980,000. I had to ask my partner to lend me 20 grand. He goes, "You just got a check for $500,000. What are you fucking talking about?" We had a fucking insane year, and I'm like, "Well, dude," I says, "I'm 980 grand. If you give me 20, I'll give you 10% on it." That tomorrow, I just want to have the slip that says $1 million.
Right?
For the bank. It's the last million I've ever had, and I'm still trying to get there again.
Oh, if I could make money that I made when I was 19, I would make $50,000 in one day sometimes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. I would have it stuffed in my underwear, if you can believe that, walking around Rush Street. I was a big tipper back then, too. Here, take it. Now I'm like, Jesus, I don't make that a year hardly now.
I always thought you had big balls, but it was really the cash.
It was the cash. There's nothing there. The girls were surprised about
I'll
it.
turn
They
like
didn't
this.
like the cash.
Scotty, I'll turn like this. You and I'll talk to. So how you doing? Turn this way, Scott. No, not the other way. Don't talk to me.
How you doing? Everything good?
Hey, you've been good. How's Chicago treating you?
It's nice. It's nice. There's a bunch of testosterone there, but it's all right.
Yeah, right. I got to go back and get a hot dog.
I got to get an Italian beef at Portillo's. There's another plug for my buddy.
Fucking best place ever. We get Portillo's. Have you been to Portillo's, Fratty?
Yeah. They have one in Buena Park.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife, we got a niece that lives out in Orange County. We go out there all the time. Well, not all the time. It's like fucking driving across.
I was going to say, if it's all the time, I feel gypped because I see you like twice a year when you venture out of your castle of LA.
It's just terrible. Traffic.
I grew up with Mike Portillo, was in my kindergarten class. So his mom used to bring us hot dogs for lunch a couple times a year, right? And they had literally the hot dog place was it was on wheels, and looked like a doghouse, right, on wheels, and he would sell the hot dogs out of the thing, and then they expanded Addison and all that.
Jeez.
And now they sold it for $1 billion.
Wow.
He's still my buddy though.
It's the best hot dog and beef sandwich. I always get the hot dog and we get a beef. We each get a hot dog and then we get a beef and split in half. But I don't think the best hot dog I ever had was at Super Dogs in Chicago. Remember Super Dogs? The roller skaters?
Whenever I'm in town, we ride the motorcycles up there.
Oh my God. So Fratty, you go in there and they give it to you in a box, and their fries are the little, like the fries got the ridges on them, and they're thicker, like the size of your finger, and they get the ridges.
Yeah.
So they put the
Chris, where are you from?
I'm from Orange County. I've pretty much lived here my whole life. I think I was born in LA, moved to San Diego and Carlsbad area until I was like 4. Yeah. And then lived in Orange County since, outside of a few stints back east for college.
So I used to be involved with motocross, and Carlsbad was where they did the USGP.
Oh, wow.
And my buddies, they moved there. They started that company, Life's the Beach, Bad Boy Club, and Spy Sunglasses and Prana. Yeah.
That's really cool. I love Carl's. I was little, but we used to go back there for a long time. We were actually just talking. I have a 11-month-old now, and we got this little toy contraption where you put some balls at the top and they spin around and they come out, and she just stares at it. And I was talking to my dad. I was like, that reminds me of the Carlsbad Mall. They had this clock right in the middle of it, and it was all driven by billiard balls. So it's kind of like one of those, once you got it going, perpetual motion, it would just keep going. So the ball would go up to the top, it would drop down, kind of like the game Mousetrap. So it'd set it off, and this little thing would go down, and that thing would go up, and it'd do all this stuff, and it would turn a gear. And the gear would turn the minute hand and everything. And I just remember as a kid, staring at it, just watching that thing go for 10 minutes, and Dad'd be like, all right, let's go.
Funny what we remember as kids.
Yeah, so then when I saw her staring at it, it just clicked into my head. And I think that, and then just I remember like running around our neighborhood as a kid. I mean, again, I was 2, 3, maybe 4 years
There
old at the
probably
time.
wasn't much there then.
No, I think the mall was the big thing, and then it's now called Sprouts, but they're way back in the day, the family used to have a spot called Boney's, and it's set up just like Sprouts, but over by the butcher where we'd get meat, they had a huge buffalo, and it was up on the wall, and I'd always have my dad pick me up, and I'd pick its nose.
It's a beautiful area now, Carlsbad.
Yeah.
They really made that road in front of the ocean.
Oh, it's my
nice.
favorite
Yeah.
place. My favorite place in all of all of California. I love Carlsbad.
And there's a
Yeah.
good I don't know what you would call it or where you'd call it, but there's a little strip. It kind of seems like kind of a historic downtownish area that's just like 3 or 4 breweries, restaurants, mixed shops kind of thing. I went down there for a friend's bachelor party, and Mother Earth Brewing is over there, and a few other stops. And it was just I love San Diego in general. It's just, I don't know, it has a good
Have you
feeling.
ever lived in LA?
I did for about a year. I lived in Silver Lake.
Yeah. That's when we started the podcast. We do it
Yep.
over at my office in Hollywood, and we were actually filming it. It was great. I mean, we tried so many different ways, and then
Oh,
it got to be too much work. This is like perfect with Zoom. It's so easy. You can have a nice chat with you and
Yep.
whoever you have on the show. And we've been getting more and more like people. It seems like we get some great people on the show. We had with Shagbag. I mean, we literally got over 4,000 hits on her channel, and then ours is jumping. And so, we're back at it. After if we would have kept it going, we would have been probably making some money here. But but we're not doing it for that. We're doing it for the love of just chatting and having good things. And so we talk about the mob stuff. We talk about breweries and liquor and fashion and tech. To whatever's sort of on the top of mind for us.
Well, the mob stuff was very exciting lifestyle and very hard to get away from because the money and everything was exciting. But that lifestyle is jails, institution, and death. And let's face it, we're not honest people if we're the mobsters,
Yeah.
We're not.
Yeah.
And, I would stab you in the back eventually if, know.
Yeah.
Because that's just how the kind of guy I was back then, a taker, And I don't want to be that guy anymore. And same with drugs and alcohol. It's jails, institution, and death if you have an addictive personality like me. So, but that mob life, it's alluring, It's even with Weiland was hard with him because he would be singing to 20,000 people, and I knew spiritually he was very ill,
Yeah.
And here everyone's putting him on a pedestal, and
Yeah.
it was hard to be around,
Yeah, I bet. How's he doing?
He's dead.
Is he?
Yeah.
He
died.
is dead. Jesus.
Yeah.
The
weird thing is, he died like his last drink was in where I grew up around Elmhurst, Illinois, at a bar.
Shit, that's right. I forgot that he did pass away. Now that I think about it, I used to have people always tell me I look like Scott Weiland.
I could see
always
that.
get that from people.
You did.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a shame. I wound up hanging out. I was at, I'll end it with this story. I was in Coachella, and I told everybody the meeting place, and I was the only guy that didn't show up, and I lost everybody. And now I'm walking around, the cars are gone, and next thing you know, I'm walking back in, and this guy's coming out with his guitar on his shoulder, and he's like, "Is anybody back in there?" He's like, Nah. And I go, "Shit, I lost everybody." He says, "Come on back with me. I'm going to go to the bus." And it was like, "Yeah, all right, I'll go back." And turns out he was with, what's the guy? Now I'm drawing a blank on the band, but he's an LA guy, and he's married to a beautiful Chinese girl, and he's been doing it for years.
Harry Farrell?
Yeah. There you go. That's
was
good.
It?
Yeah, it's Perry Farrell. Yeah. And I went, and I'm next thing I know, I'm hanging out with Perry Farrell, and the whole day they had 4 buses like this, lights, and they had a soccer thing going on in the middle of it. It's like 1:00 in the morning, and just sitting back. I went in the guy's bus. He's showing me all the photography, the photographer and director that shot everything. I had the best time. Everybody was so nice. I had the greatest.
Yeah, I love that. I love that part of the rock and roll world. Like, I just like the backstage fun of it all.
Yeah.
Music's a great high, though. That's why I was in the music always, because music's
Yeah.
the best natural high in the world to me, you know.
Yeah, it
I
definitely
do
is.
miss that. You know, I miss
Trust me,
going.
I miss live events so much.
Yeah.
I've been YouTubing concerts and live perform, anything I can get just to watch it, just because
When do you think
it's
you'll be back? Are you guys doing anything yet?
nothing yet for us. I mean, some of the venues back east, I think, are starting to open up with limited capacities and stuff. California, unfortunately, is just so far behind where we have stuff booked for like March and April,
Mhm.
like national tours. So hopefully by then we're back and there's no setbacks for it.
So do you
Hopefully,
book for Live Nation?
I don't book. I do the premium seating for them. So at our venue downstairs, all standing room, got the pit, that's where everyone's going crazy. And
Yeah.
then upstairs we got a balcony, private club, seated area, private bathrooms, all that. So it's nice for like that's why like our my specialty, like I love when the old school punk bands come through. One, because I like
Like
the
who?
music. Bad Religion's come through.
I'm
We
an old
have,
school punker, you know.
yeah.
I
So like,
toured with I went with the Sex Pistols when they
wow, yeah.
reunited
So
here.
not that. I'd say like old school,
More
like,
LA,
yeah, SoCal punk bands.
Adolescence, and
Yeah, we haven't
Twitter.
had the. Who were we? We were supposed to have Casualties come through.
Mhm.
And then that tour was coming up. I think it was last April. They were supposed to come through.
TSOL was a lot of fun.
TSOL comes through. We had them.
Jack lives out in Orange County.
We have them. I think they're booked again or pending to be booked for 2021, early 2021. Lagwagon, kind of that pop punk, surfer punk stuff. But it's all stuff that was big in the 90s,
Hmm.
early 2000s, because like I'm going to be 35. So when that stuff was big, I was in high school, junior high. Here I am in my 30s. I have money to spend, and they love going to it, but they don't want to be in the pit with all the young kids
Yeah,
kicking,
yeah.
punching, crowd surfing. They just want to see their favorite band, have some drinks, hang out, and we have this great lounge up top,
Oh, that's what I would
and
like.
everything. Yeah, it's like, as don't get me wrong, I love being in the pit and all that, but it's like I got to get up and go to work the next day. I don't need to be like limping into work or a black eye, going in because I was
It's
in the
funny
middle of the
because,
pit.
in Chicago, we had O'Banion's, and O'Banion's was more of a pogoing club, right?
Hmm.
In the late 70s, and it was in a crazy part of town. Steve, that part of town back then was nuts.
Yeah,
Wayne,
what
John,
area was what area was O'Banion's?
it was Erie and Erie, Clark and Erie on the corner.
Uh-oh, look who just jumped on.
Oh shit!
What's up?
I know that guy.
What's up, bitches?
What's up?
What's
Surprise
up,
guest.
bitches?
We like to do that every so often.
What a miracle!
I know, right?
Vegas.
They were
Las
all
Vegas.
still alive to begin with.
Yeah, a bunch
Oh,
of old
man.
guys with a sharp young dude who's coaching us through here.
I'm just here to help our demograph,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
bring down the average age.
Now we're in our 40s, Jonathan.
What's happening?
That's so good. I texted him, Scotty, and said, "Hey, you're bragging about him. He was, interviewed you back. We were talking about at not the China Club, but Limelight. Oh God, talk about."
I was just talking about Limelight yesterday. I forgot who I was talking to, and they were like, "Oh, we were going to buy this place. It was called the Castle." I said, "No, it wasn't the Castle. It was the Chicago Historical Society." Oh, they were referring to it as Excalibur.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it was
Oh
Limelight.
yeah, that's right.
So-
It turned into shitty Excalibur. That was a shit.
Yeah, they really shitted it up, didn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, how many times did you guys get laid at Limelight?
a lot.
Right?
Oh,
Upstairs. My favorite story is that opening night, I sat next to Andy Warhol for exactly 15 minutes. I didn't say a word to him. I got up and walked away.
I loved him. I used to hang with him a lot in New York.
You did? Really? I
Yeah,
didn't
and
say,
he would sit there. He would have these interview magazines, right? A big stack, and he would just autograph them to people, right? And I got a couple, and I gave him like his gifts or whatever. And then I like, holy fuck! I wish I would have kept one of those. You know what I mean? They're worth like 20 grand now.
Yeah. One of my favorite stories is I had a DJ that worked for me in Milwaukee came to visit me in Chicago, and I took him to Limelight, and we were doing blow in the bathroom upstairs at VIP, and some Billy Idol undercover motherfucker puts his head over the stall in the men's room, and we're both shoveling at the time, and he's like, "You guys come out of the bathroom right now." And I go, "Who the fuck are you?" And he flips his badge like over the top of the urinal thing. I had all kinds of shit in my pockets, and we're going over the railing. I'm throwing these Coke cards and joints and Quaaludes. We get to the front door, and Hustle Russell's at the front and says, "Johnny, you got a problem?" I said, "Yeah, this Billy Idol motherfucker wants to arrest me for doing blow in the bathroom." And Russell looks at the cop, and he says, "Don't you know who he is?" He goes, "No." He said, "I didn't know who I was." And so he says, "Johnny, go back in. And the cop came back upstairs to VIP and apologized to me.
Nice.
I was like, that's how good Hustle Russell was.
You know, we were just talking about him. He's in Ojai now, running.
That's what I was telling Scof. Wasn't I telling you that, Scof?
Yeah.
Duty's up there. Russell's up there. Steven Edelson. I guess Steven Edelson was the pivot, the guy that started up there.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was Duty. I don't know.
No, it was Steve.
Scof, that reminds me of my 21st birthday in the Berg, because we had been going to the cellar for so long, like everyone just knew me there. So, on my 21st birthday, the day before, we're partying in the hockey house. Yeah. And then we head over to the cellar, and midnight comes, and the bartenders are all giving me shots because it's my 21st birthday. And so I'm just
cellar in New York.
No, it's a bar and club in Fitchburg, Massachusetts.
Oh.
It was the local hangout of the hockey team.
Oh, it was great.
And I'm taking shots from the bartenders that are all giving me shots. All the guys on the team are giving me shots. They also work the door, so they also we'd go into the back into the liquor cabinet and pull rips from bottles in the back so we didn't have to buy them all at the bar. And I'm shithouse, so I go outside and I'm just puking everywhere. The cop that was there working is also the same cop that would work the hockey games.
Yeah.
So he's looking at me.
There's a bunch of cops on the bar.
Yeah. So he's looking at me and he's like, "You okay?" And I'm like, "I'm good." Walked right back into the bar and started talking, getting more shots handed to me from the bartenders. It was just like...
The captain had the key. Yeah. My son was the captain. They had a key to the refrigerator. It was locked. And then he got 3 beers and $1 shots. These kids would go home. Saturday, they never went on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Scotty, if I could, Scotty, is your brother Todd still with us?
Yeah, he's in Orlando. And he's one of the #1 pool designers there. He was with Barrington Pools, but him and his family wanted to go somewhere warmer, so they went to Orlando about 2 years ago, Winter Park. And he's like killing it because with COVID, everybody wants a pool now. And he's like, "I'm charging just to go meet with people to talk about designs,
One of the times what was the name of your club?
Avalon.
Avalon. I remember one interview I did. What was the guy? He had the mohawk, a flock of seagulls.
Yeah.
Mike from Flock of Seagulls.
Right. That was funny.
Oh man, we had some times, you guys had that
thing,
corner, and around the corner was the Vic. We'd go to see Guar.
It was Berlin, Medusas, the Vic, and me. It was like one time I would stand at the door a lot because I just like being outside on the street there.
Yeah.
And with my zoot suit and shit. But one time there was like 200 kids and they had a fight. Like it was like quadrophenia, right? And they were fighting. I don't know about what. I don't know if it was the skinhead kids were starting something. And a cop car pulls up And all of a sudden he realizes he's surrounded by 200 kids and he's got his lights on. He just takes off. And I'm like, man, I'm like watching Quadrophenia or something here. It was hilarious.
Oh, yeah. And Ann Sathers. I lived across the street for a while, right across from Cross Currents.
Oh, man. Ann Sathers.
Ann Sathers, those Danish.
That whole street there, you could eat at every nationality restaurant. Ethiopian was there. You had sushi places, Korean, like every single type of food for like $10.
How many years did you have? How many years did you have the bar? 4 or 5?
Me, 10.
10 years you had Avalon?
Yeah.
What a great run. 10 years in the bar business.
86 to 96.
Yeah. You know, I come across those pictures once in a while. I'll come across a picture from, you know, I came across one today from, you know, and I didn't think it was that long ago. It was 1999. And it was out here. It was with Joe Mantegna, and it was the opening of the Rat Pack night at the Desert Inn, which there's no more Desert Inn, with Bobby Caldwell and David Cassidy, who's no longer with us as well. Yeah.
David's son is a good friend of mine, Bo.
Oh yeah. So you had Avalon from what, 86 to 96?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was still living in Chicago. Obviously, but I was coming to Vegas a lot in 99, and then I moved out here in 2006. So I've been out here for 14
years. I moved to LA
years.
in 94, but
you moved out before I did.
Yeah, we still had you know, Roger Jansen bought it from me, but I was still the owner.
I don't remember him. Yeah, I don't remember him.
I moved out in 91. Yeah.
But it was quite the hangout. Avalon was a lot of fun. I'm sure I got laid out of there too.
Avalon was great. Avalon was like, you know.
Okay, what's your favorite Limelight story?
Me?
Oh, God.
Anybody.
I told it to you, Jonathan. Remember at the anniversary, I just told these guys about when they asked me to sing at Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid.
And I wrote the lyrics down in red marker, and I went up on the stage, and a red light shined on my lyric paper, and it went blank, and I was like, oh shit. And they're like, 1, 2, 3, hit it. And I'm like, get on the scene, you know, like a sex machine.
Yeah. It's a man's world. I met James Brown at FX 1100, and it was just after he was arrested for beating up his wife, and a Chicago paddy wagon pulled up. It was probably like 3 or 4 in the morning. I said, Mr. Brown, your limo's here. Chicago.
Hey,
we're all coked up out of our
I
minds.
met him when I was hitting a bottom in New York for the New Music Seminar. He was a speaker with Joe Shanahan and a couple other people. And he was on stage, you know, and Shanahan was there, and they had him, and I was freaking out. I was losing my mind. I had just got let out of a jail to catch my plane, and I was trying to change my life, and I went right to New York because they called the airlines. They said, I said, yeah, I'm supposed to be on a flight to New York, and they called and they said, oh shit, he is. Let him out. And they let me out. It was like,
you know, like I totally missed the years that you were on. What was it called? $1 Million
Listing. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many years? What year did you do that?
The first year they did it, I was season 1, episode 1. So I didn't know it was going to be a big hit. I didn't even dress up for the damn thing. You know, they're like, yeah, it might make it on TV. It might not.
You know, Jonathan, I just mentioned what we were doing with the kids and everything, and on school learning, you know, the OPET online school. And he said he'd love to hear more about it. So
yeah, I like basketball. You know, I'm a big basketball fan.
Oh, are you?
Huge.
Yeah.
You know, Michael Jordan's guy and all that?
Yeah.
But I used to hoop. I ran the gym in Chicago, and I played every day for a long time.
Well, NBA Summer League is who really started me teaching.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was working. I was just wrangling talent for NBA Summer League to do the national anthem and do the tip-offs. And 2019, they asked me if I would consider teaching broadcasting to this Desert Pines High School, which was an at-risk school. And so I said, sure, you know, and they paid me to do it. They gave me $10,000 to do it. And I had no curriculum. I just went in and said, all you kids in broadcasting, who here wants to be in front of the camera or on the microphone? I knew they all did, but they wouldn't be in broadcasting class. I said, well, the first thing I could tell you is, and I'm going to say this over and over, So it's not about me, and it's not about you, and it's not about your guest. It's about your audience. If you don't have an audience, you may as well be having a cup of coffee or a beer with a friend. And from there, I took them down to the radio station and put them on the air live.
Oh,
I
nice.
said, now what do you want to talk about? And they went, humana, Ed Norton.
That's great.
So then I taught them they had to be prepared. And then we had them calling play-by-play and color commentary on the actual summer league games. And they were real games.
Wow.
We had all 30 teams and China and Croatia. And we had 150,000 people coming. And, like anything else, the cream rises to the top. And, one of these kids, I'm sure out of the 30 will go for a career in broadcasting. And then it progressed even more when COVID hit. I was supposed to start at another technical school. And I had this epiphany, and you know how painful that could be, about who's teaching
no pain,
the teachers.
no gain.
No
About
pain,
what?
no gain. Who's teaching the teachers? How can you expect teachers that have been in front of a live classroom for all their career to know how to do this? And so I reached out to Clark County Education Association and got their endorsement from the executive director, and we produced a pilot at Las Vegas PBS Public Broadcasting. And they emailed it out to all 19,000 teachers in Clark County, which is the 5th largest school district in the United States. And the schools are still shut down here, although they're making progress here in Las Vegas with opening things up a little bit. But we've done our pilot on PBS. PBS wants to give us 13-week series, half hour on engagement and teaching broadcasting. So I'm still on the air. I'm on tomorrow. And it'll be about education tomorrow and about engagement. And then Scof and I started kind of keeping up. No, it's not. I was just brought on as executive producer of a new television studio in North Las Vegas. So I've got a half a dozen shows that I'm producing right now. And we did one with the making of a choir, which was just great.
Oh, I saw it.
Oh, did you watch it?
I watched it. Fratty, you should go on to Jonathan Scott's personal page and
Yep.
the making of the choir, and this teacher is, oh my God, these kids are amazing. I mean, that needs to be I'm down for helping you any way I can with that. And Scotty, you should see it because it's amazing, and you love music and you love it. Look, I mean, Scotty, how many kids you got? You got 2 daughters?
Yeah.
You're beautiful. You got a beautiful family, dude. Fratty, we just saw his daughter, 1 year old almost. So she just brought the demographics down.
I'm working on it.
Probably about 24 to 30 for at least a minute.
You had your surprise guest, and I had my surprise guest.
Do you know Scott Weiland was in the choir at Huntington High School, Huntington Beach High School.
Wow,
that's crazy.
Scotty, are you still in 90210?
I'm now in. I just bought a house in Palm Desert, so I have one here and Camarillo, which is by Malibu,
Yeah.
So I'm going to be in Palm Desert a lot. I'm a little closer to Vegas. Did you ever do boxing stuff? I'm hooked up big time with boxers there.
We have, I have in the past with Tyson and Holyfield and Larry Holmes. But only we have a little boxing ring here, the Toca TOCCA on Charleston and Main Street, and the instructor Louis Mondo is a great guest. So whenever there's a big fight, I'll have him on the air, and he's very passionate. And he takes kids, take any kid off the street that wants to learn boxing. And it's not about the money for him. He's real passionate about boxing. Yeah, we've done live remotes from there too.
We hired Hasim Rockman. It's called Prince Ranch Boxing. Bones Adams kind of runs it, but Hasim, he has some kids too that are boxers. But we just had a guy win last week on ESPN or Fox Sports 1, and he beat like another undefeated guy that he was supposed to lose to. So they're really hot on this guy, Victor. Yeah, so
that's great.
I miss the heavyweights. I
love the heavyweights.
Boxing. Yeah, I love the heavyweights. And haven't had a good one for a while. So hopefully everything will come back. They just changed the law here that they can open, and the big stadiums can open, but they can have 10% of, like, Raider Stadium holds 65,000 people, so they can have 10%, 6,500 people, but they have to be in pods of 250 and 6 feet apart. So it's still a little effed up. But
Yeah.
we're getting closer. I mean, when people
Right.
stop dying, it'll get
We
back.
need
But
a vaccine or something.
I mean, at least we can have shows again.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
That would be great. I mean, I had a comedian jump out and meet Jonathan yesterday. Willie Barcina. He's pretty funny. So.
This kid that was with him, Quinn. I had dinner with my friend Dennis Blair and his wife Peggy last night, and he said this kid Quinn that was with Willie is really good. And then I looked up Quinn with 2 N's, and Dennis Blair knew him. Dennis opened for George Carlin for 11 years, so he knew this other kid Quinn. He didn't know Willie, but he knew Quinn.
Yeah.
And he said Quinn's a really good stand-up. So I was going to tell you that today anyway, even if we didn't.
Yeah, no, I'm going to hit up Matt Spain, the producer, and that too. Well, hey guys, I got to fly. I'm like 2 hours to get to late to a birthday. Hey, everyone, welcome back. What a great show, huh, Fratty?
Oh man, like I was saying before, I mean, that was a fun interview. I mean, I think I wanted to be a fan. I just wanted to sit back and, I mean, obviously, Scotty's stories are pretty remarkable and crazy and something I could never fathom because I never lived that lifestyle.
No.
So I'm just like in awe of it. And then with him and Jonathan Scott just going back and forth, it was just like I just want to be. I'm like a fly on the wall, just watching a nice candid conversation between two Chicagoans and then yourself and everything. It was fun. I really enjoyed it.
It's a good one. I'm really, really super happy about it. It's it's just the stories. But the one good thing about getting a little bit older is that you do have more stories. And if you've really lived life, you're going to have. I tell people my background and where I've been and things like that, and they're like, "What?" I was. Yeah. I just even the area I was in Chicago and where we were at with the Netflix gig, it was crazy. My first job was at the federal courthouse, not federal, but it was the city courthouse down the street. And I was a bodyguard for Judge Sylvester C. Close. And it was, the area was just terrible. But now the whole city has changed. And it's just wonderful to see. And to have somebody like Scotty, who was such a staple in the club scene and party scene. And just, I remember seeing the Smashing Pumpkins at his place, like we talk about. And it's just wonderful.
It's so crazy. And I saw them last fall. I saw them in the fall. They played here at the outdoor amphitheater, and I mean, I've listened to their music, but it wasn't like a band that I kept up with, and they put on a heck of a show. It was a great time. I mean, we talked about it there. I mean, I love live music. I love going to live events, sporting, concerts, comedy, whatever it is, and I can only imagine. Like I think of that often about what it would be like to go see some of these historic bands, in their like club days, which when things open up again, I mean, I'm sure there's some bands and acts that come through that 10, 20 years from now will be game changers that I'll be like, oh yeah, I saw them on like a Tuesday night, to 600 people. And, now they're, front and center on the billboard. So,
Yep. Lighting's changing here. I keep on going bright and light and trying to get my fucking face lit, and I was like, "Damn, Fratty's gotten all the lighting on him. What the hell?"
It's my my professional tiki studio. What can I say?
Yeah, right. I know. I switched it up today to the Judy's gone, and I just said, "Screw it. I'm going to sit in the kitchen here at the counter." But yeah, so good stuff, dude. So I'm just super excited. I hope everybody's having fun when they listen to our show, and it's. I was listening to it the other day on the radio while I was in the truck, and it was fun. So I hope anybody out there that's paying attention to us, I hope you just enjoy our chats and, and push it out there for us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Scof, I know you're a busy man these days with all your projects and everything, so we'll keep this short for you and our listeners here. But, obviously next week we got a good one. We got a good one. We've hinted at it. Now we got the full episode of Jeff, the 420 Chef. His own episode and special guest on that episode too.
Nice. Don't tell him. Let him find out.
You'll find out. Stay tuned. So next Monday, come back, same channel, and listen to another good one.
All right, Fratty. Good seeing you
Awesome.
again, buddy. All right, I'll talk to you
too,
tomorrow.
Scof. Bye,
All right,
man.
later.
I forgot you
Awesome.
were
I'm gonna
recording.
give Michael.
Am I supposed to say Schofield's Flowers? Welcome back to Schofield's Flowers.
Cut.
All right, Fratty. Hey, Fratty, how you doing today?
I'm welcome. I'm welcome.
I like
Yeah.
the hat, dude. Looking good.
You guys all got hats on. I should put mine.
Yeah,
on.
and we just have fun on the show, you know. Cool.
Sorry, Scof. Not XXX like you wished.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Well, XXE, XX Entertainment, baby. I'm actually getting rid of this bed, Fratty. I'm putting in a couch, you know. We lived in the 80s. That's when it was good.
Dick the Bruiser talking about coke and all kinds of shit. I forgot we were recording.